TST Broadcasting and the Timeshare Owners Channel. This is Shep Altshuler, President of Timesharing Today and the Timeshare Board Members Association. Today, we are being joined by Tom Miller, a longtime timeshare owner and a Timesharing Today Ambassador. We will be discussing his experiences in vacation ownership and the purchases he has made over the years from developers. Hi, Tom. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hi, Shep.
Appreciate you joining us today. And I know that you are an enthusiastic timeshare owner, but tell our listeners, how long have you actually owned timeshares?
I think it's around 23 years now.
And how many timeshares do you own?
Well, I've accumulated them over the years, but at this point we have 6.5. So that half is an every other year week.
And where are they located? Do you own in different parts of the country?
Yeah, we do. We started by purchasing in Florida, as probably many people have, after having visited a property near Orlando. So we actually have 3 in Florida. We have one in Williamsburg, Virginia, because we decided we wanted something closer to home. And we've also picked one up in New Orleans and one in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, one of my favorite places to ski. And our every other year week is in St. Martin.
What actually prompted you to buy timeshares in the first place?
Well, it's a funny story because we went on our first visit because someone offered us a free place to stay near Orlando. We had 2 small kids, and we thought, well, we'll go down and we'll see the area and we'll take advantage of what they're offering. We went to the first presentation. We told them we weren't interested in buying anything. They were very low key about it. And after we had taken care of all the paperwork, we were just walking out. He said, well, since you're here, why don't you come take a look anyway? So we did take a look, and we realized that after a couple years of vacationing in hotels, the idea of vacationing in a 2-bedroom condo where the kids could have their own bedroom and we didn't have to worry about them sleeping while we were trying to do something late in the evening was a pretty nice way of vacationing. So that was our first purchase near Orlando, just to give us a nice way to vacation with small kids.
Was this a decision you made between you and your wife? We hear a lot of wives saying, well, my husband did this to us, and we tended to feel it was, in those days, primarily driven by the husband in terms of the purchasing decision. So was this a joint decision between you and your wife?
Absolutely. And I think, she actually came around first and said, I could enjoy vacation in this way. So she was the one that kind of reversed our plan going in. We went in saying we weren't going to buy anything. And then before we left, she said, I like this. Maybe we should take a closer look, which we did. And then every purchase since then has basically been the same. We're probably in many respects, we've gone into each presentation thinking we're not really interested in buying anything. We think we've got enough. But through understanding what each new opportunity offered, we discussed it and we made a joint decision that, this made sense. And, some might say that, well, maybe I just can't say no because we have 6.5 weeks. But I can tell you we've probably been to 20 or 25 presentations. So we can say no. But, there were times in our life where picking up another week made sense for various reasons. Each presentation offers something new, and or the vendors add a new product or a new twist to the product that made sense for us at the time. So that's kind of where we got in there. But I kind of off the beaten path. But every purchase has been a joint purchase.
Do you use the home resorts at which you purchased, or do you exchange? Is it a combination of usage?
Most of our usage is an exchange. Of the 2 Orlando properties that we've had the longest, we've been there, I think, 4 times in the 23 years. So, quite a few of them are exchanged, although I can say that since we purchased the Williamsburg property 6 or 7 years ago, we've been there almost half the time. We really like the area and the opportunities it provides. And I mentioned up front that I'm really comfortable going to Steamboat Springs, Colorado. So we've actually used that property 4 times. So, I find some trends where we're going to some places over and over where we own, but most of them are exchange.
And how do you vacation? Do you go as a couple, family, friends? How do you actually travel?
I would say it's mostly family and friends. I mean, we started off with a family. Since our kids have grown, we were traveling on our own. But as our friends are aging as well, they're becoming more open to travel. So yeah, we've booked quite a few friend trips this year.
I commented to you when I got the photograph you sent to us originally that you looked like a happy owner. That's what prompted my wanting to get in touch with you. So why is it that you consider yourself a happy owner?
Well, it's just that we enjoy traveling. We enjoy seeing new things, trying new opportunities, trying the local cuisine. So for many reasons, we like to travel, and traveling it through a timeshare has worked well for us. It gives you a nice space to relax wherever you happen to be. Even if you're out and about during the day, you can come back and it's a nice, comfortable place to relax in the evening, and it feels more like home. I mean, it doesn't have all the home amenities, but they do a pretty good job of giving you as much as they can to make you feel like home, and it is comfortable. So I think that's made it very helpful for us.
And did you ever do like a cost analysis of owning the timeshare versus maybe staying in a hotel that you're finding that value proposition still exists over the 23 years that you've been an owner, even though maintenance fees go up?
I'm glad you asked that. I mean, that is an important aspect. Anytime you consider buying a timeshare or picking up another unit, and I've looked at it a couple of times over the years. I have to say I've benefited from some timely articles in Timeshare Today that have talked specifically about that ownership cost. And, from the perspective of an annual maintenance versus, the maintenance fee versus a non-timeshare reservation, like a hotel reservation, it's pretty easy to see the value. Obviously you have to compare like properties. When you can't compare a 2-bedroom stay in a timeshare to a 2-bed hotel stay. There's just no comparison. But when I did that comparison just recently for a trip to Williamsburg, the $800 maintenance fee was a lot better than the $2,100 it was going to cost me to rent the same unit for the week. But as we know, that's not the total cost. I mean, you have to buy into a timeshare week or a unit to start with. And I know that, buying from a developer brings their added costs of advertising and whatnot that makes that initial expense, more than many people consider at first. But I think the capability to buy a resale property from other owners helps reduce that upfront cost if you were considering a first week or, an additional week. But that said, I still think there's benefits from developer purchases at times.
Right. Now, were all your purchases made by the developer, or did you buy any on the resale market?
That's the one thing that embarrasses me. As much as I know about the resale market, none of them have been resale. I often wish they had been, and I can't explain how that didn't happen. But I think I can. I think, the purchases we've made through the developer, even more recently, they have offered other products to help us get more out of the earlier timeshares that we purchased. Like our last 2 purchases were in a points program, which I had resisted for the longest time because I didn't think it was necessary. But, as we've gotten into a different point in life, I see the benefit of trading through points and the ability to move or deposit some of my existing weeks into that same points program that some of the vendors offer made it worthwhile for us at the time. It gave us more flexibility and purchase power for some of our older points.
Now everybody's not talking about developers. It's more vacation club that's being used as the way to define the developers today. So which ones did you purchase from?
Let's see. One of our earlier properties was through Diamond Resorts. In Williamsburg, it's with Marriott, which we've been very happy with. And recently it's been with Club Wyndham, which offered the points program that we were interested in.
So you've had a good taste of the experience of staying at the properties of these developers, and from what you say, it looks like it's been a good experience at these resorts. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've been very happy with the stay at the Marriott properties, and I'm happy to own that one. And that's probably one of the reasons we do return there often is the property is so wonderful. Wyndham we're just getting into, but where we've stayed so far, they've been great. And they, like I said, they offered the points program, and we're looking to take advantage of more of that in the near future.
Now, we know, and as a Timesharing Today reader, that we report about the good and the bad in the industry. And are there any issues in the industry that concern you quite a bit?
I think the ability to resell or relinquish an existing ownership does haunt many people. I'm currently not in that position. I'm happy to use everything that I have, but I know at some point, we may not be using them. We'll want to pass them on to our kids, or maybe just return them. And it seems like the process of doing that right now is cumbersome or prohibitive for many people. And as we know, there are some scams out there that can get in your way as well. But frankly, I think the bigger problem is we need to make it easier to use the timeshares that people own or that might consider to own. So many people are used to going to a website now and making a reservation for a hotel, and it takes 10 minutes. But you can't do that for a timeshare yet. While some of the vendors are offering a way to do that from one perspective, you still have to deal with the maintenance fees, and you might have to go through other mechanics to move things like even what I'm doing now, moving a property from one system into a point system. It's not as easy to use the timeshare system as it is to use a hotel reservation system. So I think the biggest thing that would help would be to find some way to make management of all your timeshare properties simpler. I think if we could do that, it would make it easier for the people that own them, and I think it would make it more attractive to the people that are considering owning them.
We see that there is a trend more towards enabling owners to get out of their timeshare obligations after many years. A lot of the developers are moving into programs that will help facilitate that. And I think the developer probably have to look at ways to educate the consumer more effectively about the systems, such as you're talking about, on the usage and booking, whatever it may be. Even at the point of purchase of the timeshare, we do get complaints, and we understand that a lot of owners just don't understand the product that they're buying. And a lot of it is an impulse purchase, and they end up sometimes buying something without really understanding the product. Would you think that's a valid statement?
Absolutely. I mean, I know that it's very easy to get caught up in the impulse purchase. Like I say, I've been to many of these presentations, and you really do need to dissect what they're offering, and you need to take a hard look at what they're offering and the things that they're saying to see if that really makes sense. I've come across many statements that they just don't pan out when they're described. So yeah, you can get caught up in an urge to purchase based on what you've been told, but it all doesn't pan out. But I think that's part of the reason that there may be a glut of inventory that people aren't managing and people aren't using, because they were very turned off by what they found after the fact. But I think more education about how they are valuable and how they can be used will make them more appealing to people that can see past that initial urge, and they need to understand, what it's really all about. Yes, there is some upfront cost, and you have to take that into account. But I think once you do that, I think you will see the benefit of ownership. At least we have. And I think if that point can be conveyed to new customers, I think it'll be a much easier sale purchase, and I think that would help to spread the available inventory across a new customer base.
Tom, we know that a lot of timeshare owners own multiple weeks. We have some timeshare owners that have sold their homes and lived in timeshares all year round because they love that experience, and they felt that economically, from the way they used it, it made sense. But from your perspective, how many timeshare intervals do you think somebody should consider buying?
That's an interesting question. Over the 23 years that we've owned, we've been in different situations. Early on, we had small kids, and I was new in my career, and we could get away for 4 or 5 weeks vacation. So I think owning 1 or 2 units at that point was pretty good. As my work time became more flexible and we could travel maybe 6 to 8 weeks, owning 4 or 5 seemed to fit. So I think over time, I've discovered that for us, at least, having timeshares to cover about half of my available travel weeks seems to be about right. And even now, as we're getting closer to retirement, I think that's still the case. I mean, we've moved to a nice location in Pennsylvania where we want to spend our summer months. And when it gets cool, we'll travel someplace else to golf or ski. And still, so 6 week covers about the 12 that I think we can deal with travel-wise. So yeah, for us, having units to cover about half of our vacation time seems to work out pretty well.
Now, in looking back, if you had it to do all over again, would you do it all over again, or would you do something different? I would do it again. I mean, like I said, we enjoy timeshare properties a lot, but to make things simpler, as I mentioned earlier, I would try and stick with a company if you can. Pick one that offers the features and the locations that you like to go. I mean, still you can trade occasionally through another organization, but if you're starting with one company, I think it would probably simplify the payment of maintenance costs and reservations and the whole thing. So I would start with one company if you can. Try and simplify it in that way. And I try and do resale properties if you can into that same organization. I mean, they offer discounts and you get resales from other owners into that same organization. So that's what I would try to do if I could do it again. So focus your purchases and consider the resale market.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. The reason for focusing is to get into some place to just make the maintenance and the paperwork for multiple weeks easier.
I know that you have been part of our TimeSharing Today Ambassador program, and we do send you extra copies of each issue, and I know that you do travel. Tell us a little bit about what you're encountering when you're on the road, when speaking to owners or exchangers or perhaps renters. What could you report back to us that you're hearing out in the field, so to speak, as a TimeSharing Today ambassador?
Well, I would say, I run into a lot of people that are, single unit owners. They're exchanging what they have, but, they may be new to the program or new to the timeshare process. And those are the people I enjoy talking to, kind of tell them what I've learned over time and tell them what I've learned from Timeshare Today. And that's kind of my lead into, handing off a copy of the newsletter, because it does provide them insight to, what is the timeshare concept all about, beyond what they've heard from their salesperson and from the first week that they own. There's other things going on. This is how you can do it. I talk about the resale concept. If you're thinking about a second week, this is a good way to go. From a lot of people I've talked to, it's an eye-opening experience for them. They've never seen that background. They didn't know there was a way to get more information beyond the sales pitch, and that's where it's been mostly real beneficial.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time. I appreciate your support for Timesharing Today and the input that you've given us. So thanks a lot, and maybe we'll do this again sometime.
That would be great. I'd be happy to.
And this concludes this TST broadcast on the Timeshare Owners Channel. At Timesharing Today, your opinions and experiences really do count. So if you would like to comment on today's interview or would like to participate in a future program, email staff@tsttoday.com. Until next time, happy timesharing.